Next question. Boxing or jiu-jitsu for a 7-year-old boy?
Jiu-jitsu all day on that one. It's a couple reasons. It's fun. It's active, so you can actually fight the other person, and it's real fighting, and it's what they're used to. And so many often when parents come in and they bring their kid in for the first time, or now it's week 2, and the parents are saying, "Oh, they just love it so much." And I said, "Yeah, they're doing what they want to do, what they instinctually want to do." Yeah. Go look at dogs. Go look at cats. Go look at any animal out there in the animal kingdom. You know what they do? They grapple with each other.
Yep.
And they actually do submissions, right? They if you watch like a wolf pack, when that dominating wolf gets the throat of the weaker wolf, the submissive wolf, he doesn't rip his throat out. The guy taps out, game over.
Yep.
Now he knows that he's the alpha now, but it's the same thing. So, you watch little lions or tigers, they wrestle with each other.
Yep.
They don't kill each other. They tap out. They get submissive. They say, "Oh yeah, you won." So it's very natural and very instinctive to do. So yeah, jiu-jitsu all day long. Now, it's important to develop your striking, and you can do that. Training boxing 1-2 times a week. Just get in there, learn how to throw it. I mean, it's really pretty sad when you meet a grown man that doesn't know how to throw a punch. Right? That's just not good. You should know how to throw a punch, because if you get in a fight, the fight's going to start standing. And if all you know how to do is try and double leg someone, you don't always want to do that. In fact, you prefer to knock the person out in many cases. So learn how to throw strikes. But I will say, as far as 7-year-olds getting in there and sparring, too young. All kinds of brain development still going on. Head trauma is head trauma. You're not going to get better at it as you get older. I shouldn't say that. You're not going to get better at it by taking more punches. The more you get punched in the head, the worse you're going to be at it. Period. End of story. I shouldn't say period, end of story. When you turn 18 or when you turn 17 and you're going to start sparring, you're going to get better at it for a little bit, because you're going to get used to it. You're going to understand how the reaction. You're going to know how to deal with the little white flash that hits you. You're going to become comfortable in that uncomfortable scenario. But that uptick of increased improvement is very short. And very quickly you reach the other side of that, which is every time you get punched in the head, you're taking your brain resilience backwards. So do boxing, learn it, throw punches, hit pads, make sure you know how to throw a punch. And you take a kid that's 10 years old that knows how to throw a 1-2-3 combo, and he gets in a street fight, he knows jiu-jitsu and boxing. He's not even going to get to the jiu-jitsu part, because he throws a 1-2-3 combo, and he's knocking out just about every other kid, or at least he's putting them down.
Yeah.
Or at least he's shown that kid is going to go, wait, this person knows how to fight, and I don't. Because it is hard to knock people out. I don't care, even a skilled boxer will have a hard time knocking out a random person in the street, because it's hard to knock someone out. Harder. So, yes, jiu-jitsu all day long for the 7-year-old, and do a little bit of striking to get them familiar with it.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is way funner too, and of course that it sounds like a matter of opinion, but just how you said, like, grappling and stuff is natural. Like, even if you get two brothers who don't take jiu-jitsu at all, no wrestling, no nothing, and you say, "Hey, go play outside," they're gonna start, and no ball, no nothing. They're gonna mess around, and chances are they're gonna start. One guy's gonna be pinning the other guy on the ground, pinning his hands or whatever, and that's kind of part of it. So jiu-jitsu, it's like basically jiu-jitsu is just that.
Yep.
It's literally just that, except for there's actual skills in there, so they can get good at that thing that they were doing anyway.
And that's one of the reasons that boxing or striking, because I should say boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, whatever. There's a reason why it's a little bit boring if you're not sparring, because now you're not sparring. You're hitting pads. You're hitting. It's just not as fun.
Yeah.
It is cool. Yeah. And it's good. And I'll tell you what, I've been to Thailand, and it's awesome seeing the young kids that are training like that all the time. You drive down the streets in Thailand, just like in America, you'd see guys shooting hoops, or you see kids shooting hoops, you see kids playing catch the baseball. The kids there are doing Muay Thai. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
and it's badass.
That is badass, but that's a traditional thing. You know, when that's all around you, that's what we do. That's what us kids. Just like soccer, like certain places you're going to see more people playing soccer. Then you're not going to see them playing basketball.
Well, yeah, of course it's a traditional thing. But I'm saying, even at that young age, they do find it entertaining, and there also are ways to spar. If you can do it correctly, that is like light sparring. It's almost like you're playing tag. I call it playing tag. Playing tag, you can kind of play tag with a person, and you are improving your skills, but you're not getting head brain trauma.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. The whole playing tag, because you do even if you're not trained in boxing, you'll do that anyway.
Yep.
You know, with your brothers, like slap boxing.
Yep, like slap boxing.
We used to go before I actually took jiu-jitsu, when we just watch UFC or the Hoist Gracie videos. We'd play slap MMA basically.
Yeah.
So it's slap boxing. You can kick him in the legs or whatever, and even if you get him on the ground, your ground and pound is just slapping him in the face. Like, we do that, and that's fun even if you don't know jiu-jitsu or boxing or anything. So that's right. I think that you're right about that. In that case, where
you just have to be careful of kids getting hit, kids and adults getting hit repeatedly in the head with legit strikes. It's just not good for you, period.
Yeah, and that's kind of a slippery slope too, when you're like, 7-year-old boy, I want to get him into boxing. You know, so obviously there's a spectrum there. It's on one side you're like, okay, just get him learn how to throw 1-2, learn this.
Yeah, you know what else is important to say too? 'Cause, I just thought of this. Is you said? Did you say there's a spectrum?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of natural ability to take punches too, right? Mm. So some people can get punched their whole lives and they're fine in the head. And you look at some pro boxers that come out of their boxing career after having wars, and they're cognitively fine. Mm. And there's other guys that go through their careers and they're in rough shape when they get done. Mm. They have pugilistic brain syndrome. I forget the actual name of it, but they have, the boxer's brain damage. And so you don't know who's going to have that. You don't know if your kid's going to have that or not. Yeah. So if the only way to find out is to test them by giving it to them, that's not a good way to find out. It's not worth it. Even if they wanted to be a pro boxer, it's not a good way to find out. Because you're going to find out when they're doing their first amateur bout, and if they get knocked out or they get bad headaches, it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons why I think jiu-jitsu and wrestling is going to get even more popular, because as you look at the UFC evolve, the people are now saying, all kinds of UFC fighters are saying, hey, I'm not sparring. I'm barely sparring anymore. I don't spar before my fight, or I spar a very limited amount. And so as people are saying that, well, what are you going to do if you're not sparring? Well, you're hitting pads. That's cool. But how are you going to train? You're going to do jiu-jitsu. You're going to do wrestling. You're going to do grappling. That's where you're going to win the fight. So I think that as the UFC gets more and more popular, and as more information comes out about traumatic brain injuries that come from repetitive hits to the head, I think that the popularity of boxing and striking training is going to go down, and that will force or cause the popularity of wrestling and jiu-jitsu to go up.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. It's true. But these what I said about the spectrum, I mean, everything's really a spectrum, but the approach to it, right? So let's talk about boxing. 7-year-old boy boxing. There's a spectrum. One side of the spectrum is, let's have them learn the 1-2, have them learn a jab, hook, cross, all this. And that's cool. Hit some mitts. We'll do a workout, do some jump rope, and do this. On the other side, the extreme side, this kid, discipline, 7 days a week. He's going to be the next, Roy Jones Jr. or something like that. Yeah. And we're going to start him right now kind of thing. So in that case, most of the time I would predict is that on the extreme case, the boy's not going to take to it as naturally. Unless it is part of the tradition or something like that. But jiu-jitsu, like I said, it's just so, unless you're being that guy, that parent, the one who's like, you're going no matter what. But I think so. I think you're right. I think naturally they're going to take to something like jiu-jitsu. It's just way more fun. And even just the traditional atmosphere of jiu-jitsu is more fun. You just, especially in the kids, bro, those kids have so much fun in there.
They don't barely know that they're doing something instructional in a lot of cases. They're just, hey, hold this person here with your knees on each side. Well, that's the mount. Yeah. And the kid on the bottom is learning the mount escape. They don't even know it, but they're learning it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Good stuff.
My daughter doesn't even want to leave the gym now.
That's so legit.
You can just run around and think about it too. You're in a padded room.
Here's a padded room. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, man, it's the best.